Hello everyone, KV here, and welcome back to my year in review on games I played this year. This time I have with me my good friend Maggie.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. And the game we're going to discuss today is Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer. And Maggie, I know you haven't played this game per se, but I kind of wanted to bring you on this because I know you really liked New Leaf and you kind of like a lot of the Animal Crossing mechanics and the cuteness of it and all that stuff, so thank you very much for being here. Yeah. So Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer it was basically a kind of a spin-off game of the regular Animal Crossing series, and the main goal of it is you design houses, kind of, hence the name. And you design other things, you design their interiors, their exteriors, and eventually design other buildings within the town. Like, there's a lot of cool customization to this game, and it kind of really felt like if they're going to be going for, like, their next Animal Crossing game, this is kind of like the good building blocks for it. Based on what you've seen so far, Maggie, what do you think of it?
Well, obviously it's super precious, so of course I love it already, and it's got a lot of accessories that they couldn't add to New Leaf because of the way that the buildings or the way you had to decorate a room was set up. And just watching some videos, it's just it's got so much
to be fair,
to
I think
it, a lot
most
more
of the
than
items
I thought.
are actually items you can get in New Leaf. It's just in New Leaf there was kind of a finite amount of what you could and couldn't do. Whereas in Happy Home Designer, if you want to fill up the entire room with whatever, like, I think I've seen pictures fill the entire room with, like, completely all toilets, you can do that, because it doesn't give you a limit on how much you can or cannot place, so it kind of lets you have more creative freedom with interior designing, and exterior design, too, which is actually something we never got to do in Animal Crossing games yet, other than public works projects. I guess you could kind of design where you want trees to go, but that's very time-consuming. It's different, because in this game, literally, if you want a tree to go somewhere, you just tap on a tree and say, this tree goes here. It's fully bloomed and everything, that just looks perfect and everything. So I kind of like that idea. It kind of feels more like Animal Crossing is branching out to be much more malleable. And I would kind of like that they take this idea going forward and kind of apply it to whatever the next Animal Crossing game may be, because that will probably make it more interesting, because I know New Leaf was your first game, Maggie, but that was like... New Leaf, I still feel, is probably like the pinnacle of the main Animal Crossing series, so I don't really know how they could go further, but I think Happy Home Designer, based on what I saw, definitely shows like how the series can evolve even more.
Oh, definitely. Happy Home Designer, it feels like what Animal Crossing would be like if they removed the grinding that was involved.
I think there'd probably still be some of that in another Animal Crossing game, but I think, like, yeah, it kind of like, if they had, like, a mode, like, you could, if you wanted to, like, buy an item, and you could just kind of, like, you could go back to your house, like, as a rental item, kind of envision where you want to place it, and then worry about getting the finances for it later, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, I was just watching it, it was just so much fun you could just have, because there's so many options. I couldn't believe when I saw how many accessories that you can get in a short time.
They're actually still adding a few more as well. There's been
some
some kind of DLC-ish things. They did a crossover with Monster Hunter, actually, and the feline character from Monster Hunter actually became a villager, a cute little cat villager, and they had Monster Hunter themed items, and it was pretty amazing because you would have a cart from Monster Hunter as a pet. And some characters can only be gotten with the amiibo cards / just amiibo, and that's actually a kind of cool concept as well. Like, that's the other thing I should probably discuss a little bit is the amiibo functionality of this game, because it's actually very good. Especially because they have so many cards, and I think the cards work for this particular game because there are so many villagers, and they're still making more sets of them, and hopefully they'll have, like, every single villager that's at least a New Leaf that you can put into the game. That'd be pretty awesome. But what's really unique about them is that when you're playing the game normally, if you want to go and make a house, like, every day you pretty much go into work, quote-unquote work, it's a game, but that's where you work in the game, and you go and work on a project. It can be a house project, it can be building one of the buildings, or something else. Now, typically, what you usually have to do is you have to go out of the office and find someone wandering the streets of the town, or your kind of like main street area, and be like, oh, hey, do you want a house? A little bit into the game, not pretty close to the beginning of the game, they came up with this idea of like, well, there's this phone you can call other villagers, and what you use is you scan in the amiibo cards. And what's nice about that is that with the cards, you can at least get villagers that you for sure want. And since all villagers have unique item sets to them, that can help you kind of like amass all the items you want to play around with. And what's also neat about those is that they have readable and writable functionality, so you can literally write to the card, and that I haven't tested this, but I'm pretty sure if you were to go to someone else's like Animal Crossing and call them up and scan that card in with the saved data of their house, they would get that exact house that you made. I believe so. I want to say that's the case. I know there's some cross-functionality between Happy Home Designer and Amiibo Festival. Not super fun, like, not super crazy, but basically, if you were to save the house in Happy Home Designer, if you bring it into Amiibo Festival on the board game part of the board, and I'll discuss Amiibo Festival in a later video, but if you bring it into Amiibo Festival, it will take on the exterior appearance of the house you made in Happy Home Designer, so however you designed it, it'll look like that in Amiibo Festival, which is pretty nice. So I'm going to assume that you can transfer houses between games.
Oh gosh, that's amazing. And how many
there
cards
are
are out
currently
there
100
right now
cards for Series 1. There's going to be Series 2, which is going to be 100 more. I believe Series 2 is already out in Japan and will be out in January for the US.
Oh my goodness. So they're on the ball with this.
I like both these games, Happy Home Designer and Amiibo Festival came about because the designers were like, we want to make Amiibo. And to their credit, they've made some pretty entertaining games, but I'll discuss Amiibo Festival later because I have another person who's actually played that game with me that can kind of go into more detail on likes and dislikes of that. As far as the Happy Home Designer goes, dislikes, I guess I just bring up, is that it is kind of repetitive. Like, literally, that's all you do is use design, so if that's not a thing that you enjoy, you're not going to like the game. And I wouldn't say it's a fault of the game, that's a fault of preference. So I think that there's been some kind of backlash the game's gotten at some points. Not super huge, but I've seen some. And I think that backlash is a little biased, just because you know that that's not a type of game that you enjoy, so why are you playing it in that regard, is my kind of rebuttal to that.
Agreed.
And as far as, like, there are a few unique ones as far as the cards go. Those are, like, Isabelle and KK Slider and all that. Basically any ones that are going to become, I think, physical amiibo or the special cards. And they have some unique things about them as well. Like, what's really cool is that they've also introduced, it's not just, like, a playground for all the furniture that was in the New Leaf. They've added more furniture as well. And Isabelle actually gave out one of the most unique pieces of furniture that I really enjoyed. She had a scooter. That was the scooter from Mario Kart 8. Yeah, she one of her furniture pieces is her Mario Kart 8 Animal Crossing scooter.
Oh my gosh!
So that, yeah,
really?
I was pretty shocked and amazed by that as well.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so there's, like, again, there's like all that, and there's a lot of that just kind of, like, you can just play around with it. It's a lot of fun. Like, once you get into it, it's a lot of fun. I know some people have been kind of like, is it really worth, like, $40 or something? And I'm kind of on the fence of that. It might have been better off as a budget title, but I think it's still fun enough that you just kind of have to enjoy it for what it is. I think you can probably get more enjoyment out of that than Tomodachi Life, but that's just me personally. I think both those games have the same amount of, like, gameplay in it, and it's basically both of them you have to dedicate a lot of time to play for you to get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And it's not a pick up and play game. Well, it kind of is. It's just a little bit of a different type, I guess. And yeah, the Amiibo stuff, functionality is great. There's also events. I mean, the feline from Monster Hunter was one of them, but there's another one from Mario, and hopefully there'll be some more as well coming later. I mean, with some of the games coming out next year, maybe we'll have a Fire Emblem themes house. I'd be okay with that. That'd be pretty fun. And you can go and redesign the houses and the buildings whenever you want. So you can, if you didn't like something and you have this new piece of furniture you really want to use, you can use that too. And you can hang stuff on the walls and the ceiling. That's a new feature, being able to hang stuff on the ceiling. That's really fun. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun to just kind of make everything just work and interact. And I think my favorite house I've built so far is I made one for Kevin, the pig. He wanted a space-themed house. So I was like, okay, well, space, I kind of associate that one chapter from Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door, where he goes to that cannon in that wintry area to get shot into the moon. So I was like, I'll give him a winter-type, like, base that's, like, really desolate and, like, kind of hidden. So I put by his waterfall, and he wants a big satellite in front of his house. So I was like, okay. And all of his items were the Astro set, and some other space things, like the captain's chair and captain's desk, and I eventually had to go back and redesign it because I had the option to make a bigger house by that point. And so I just basically went, well, I'm just making this the Enterprise as much as I can. And then scan in some amiibo cards, which you can do. You can scan amiibo cards in while you're visiting people to have the villagers actually show up to be in that person's house to just, like, hang out and stuff. And then you can, like, move them around and pose them wherever you want. So I just got them all just, like, manning stations, like they're in a big battle, and I was just like, it's just a lot of fun. So,
oh, cute stuff like that seems that's what this game was made for.
Mm-hmm. And the last piece of note is that you can also then share all of your creations online in their own, like, personal Miiverse community that you can also go and visit, it, kind of like the Dream Suite from New Leaf. You can go and look at people's houses and look at what they've done and kind of, like, look at what you think's cool, what you don't, and kind of rank them as well. So it's kind of a neat little feature as well. So there's a lot of good things that kind of round it out, I'd say.
Seems
the only sorry.
Oh no, it's okay.
No. The only thing that I think is probably the one downside is that you cannot change your shirts except when you're just visiting people. Because it always has to be the Nook's home, happy home this jacket.
Nook runs a tight ship.
Well, he apparently goes golfing all the time. Literally, you meet him and it's like, okay, bye. And then Lottie's like, oh, he's out to an important meeting. Probably golfing.
Oh no, Nook.
It's okay. I talked to Sable and I made her house and all her sisters appeared and she talked about how she and Nook possibly might start dating or something. I don't know. Fun stuff there. But yeah, that's Happy Home Designer. It's a pretty relaxing game. It's really fun. If you're a big Animal Crossing fan, you'll probably like it. If you liked more of the aspect of buying and helping out villagers, you might not like it as much, but if you liked a lot of the interior decoration and the customizability of stuff, I think Happy Home Designer is a really good game. So, that is my review on Happy Home Designer. Thank you, Maggie, for joining me for this.
No problem.
And we'll see you on the next one. Ciao.